I played a bunch of demos during Steam Next Fest, and while most were forgettable, there were several that stood out. Games that I can't stop thinking about and I can't wait to play on full release. So that's what we're going to be talking about here today. Here's what impressed me, what let me down, and what's worth your time. Bullet hells have always been about one thing: reflexes. React faster than the chaos. And that is where Enter the Chronosphere throws that out entirely and makes it work. Time only moves when you do, bullets freeze in midair, enemies lock in place, and then when you take a step, the world catches up and starts moving again. What sounds like a mechanic that could break the genre completely is actually one of the most interesting takes on bullet hells I've seen. Instead of reacting to danger, you're reading a frozen battlefield and planning your next move before you let the chaos resume. The comparison that kept coming to mind was Superhot. Superhot made you feel like an action hero, not because it made the game easier, but because it gave you the space to think. Chronosphere does the same thing inside a genre that's never offered that space before. The danger is still real, the bullets are still threatening, but you have the cognitive room to actually engage with it. If Superhot is one of your favorite games, like it is mine, this is an immediate wish list. If bullet hells have always felt like it's asking too much of your hands, this might be the one that finally clicks for you. Most factory builders have a right answer. There's an optimal layout, a most efficient path, and everything else is just an inefficiency waiting to be fixed. Modulus probably has the right answer too, but it never feels like that's the point. The fun is how you get there. Like most games in the genre, you're building a factory, but instead of just dropping items into an assembler and waiting for output, Modulus asks you to figure out how to get your building blocks into the right shape before they go in. You will need to mold the building materials into specific shapes to feed into the assembler for each item you're creating, and there are hundreds of possible shapes and probably thousands of ways to get there. And the fun isn't just solving it, it's solving it your way, then figuring out how to make it run clean. Two players could tackle the same level and build completely different paths and both walk away satisfied. Looking at some of the more complex parts waiting in the late game, I genuinely can't wait to get there. Think of it less like a factory builder and more like a creative puzzle sandbox. First, you figure out if you can get there, then you figure out how to make it run clean. The difference is the sandbox is just so much bigger here. More shapes, more paths, more ways to arrive at the same answer. That's where the fun lives. This feels less like solving a math test and more like playing Tetris. The full release will need to keep expanding on that. More level types, more ways to surprise you, but honestly the demo did something I didn't expect. It turned Modulus into one of my most anticipated games of the year. Day one, no hesitation. If you're enjoying the video, hit like and subscribe and leave a comment. It helps more than you think. Now on to Snacktorio. Here's the honest problem with most factory games. They're terrifying to get into. You sit down, you start building, you blink, and it's 3 hours later, your factory is an unsalvageable mess, and you still haven't figured out what you're actually supposed to be doing. That's kept a lot of people out of the genre entirely. Snacktorio figured out the fix. It's built around levels instead of one massive, endless, sprawling factory that slowly consumes your identity. You're working through discrete stages, each one its own contained puzzle to solve. It has the same level select structure as a Mario game. You pick your level, beat it, and it unlocks the path forward. You're not just endlessly expanding into the void, you're working towards something with a clear finish line. The factory building muscle is all there, the planning, the routing, the optimization, but it's packaged in chunks that actually feel manageable. That might sound like it strips something out of the genre, but it doesn't. It lowers the floor without lowering the ceiling. I can definitely see the later levels still asking a lot from you, but because you're building towards a clear goal instead of staring into the void of infinite expansion, it stays approachable in a way that most factory games never manage. For anyone who's ever been interested in the genre but bounced off the endless format, this is the one built for you. People have been asking for a good pirate game since Black Flag, and it has never come. Windrose is the most serious attempt at answering that yet, and it's doing it with Valheim's DNA. It blends the survival and base building of Valheim with the naval combat of Black Flag. No loading screens, no jarring transitions. If Valheim had decided the ocean was just as important as the land, this is probably what it would have looked like. You gather resources, build outposts, command your ship, board enemy vessels, and your home base sails with you. The world has personality too. The environments pull you forward, and there's a sense of discovery that a lot of survival games promise but don't actually deliver. The survival loop backs that up too. Enough friction to stay engaged without punishing you so hard that the world stops feeling like an adventure. I didn't get far enough into the game to see everything Windrose wants to be, but what I did see was enough to make it one of the more intriguing things I played. Keep an eye on this one. I'll be upfront, I haven't actually finished a Metroidvania since the original Guacamelee came out. The genre's gotten crowded enough that I've been mostly sitting them out, waiting for something to actually pull me back in. Lucid is tempting me. First thing you notice, it's gorgeous. The art style has a real identity to it. But movement is really the heart of the game, and that's usually where Metroidvanias lose me. Fast stability chaining traversal sounds great until you're the one fumbling through it. Lucid felt different though, in the best way. The movement clicked in a way I didn't expect. I had my fair share of fails, don't get me wrong, but instead of putting the controller down, I kept coming back for more. That's the sign of a game that's got something. It's just fun to play. The world has atmosphere without being oppressive, and it doesn't bury you in the systems before you've had a chance to enjoy being in it. Sometimes that's all you need from a demo. For me, with this genre, that bar is higher than usual. I enjoyed Lucid. I genuinely can't wait to see how it holds up in the full release. Nova Roma pulled me in immediately. The visual style, the atmosphere, the general vibe of rebuilding Roman civilization from scratch, it's all working. There's a real sense of place here, and for a while I was genuinely hooked just soaking it in. The city building is fun too. There's something satisfying about watching your settlement grow, and the systems are accessible enough that you're never fumbling around trying to figure out what to do next. I won't lie though, the longer I played, the more I started to feel the lack of resistance. The challenge just isn't there yet, at least not in the demo. I kept waiting for something to push back, a resource squeeze, a crisis to manage, a decision that actually had consequences, and it never really showed up. A game this beautiful deserves something to fight for, and right now it's missing that edge. That said, I'm not writing it off. The foundation is really strong, the aesthetic is genuinely appealing, and there's clearly something worth building here. I'll give it a real chance on full release and hope that late game has more teeth than the demo let on. If you're the kind of city builder player who prioritizes atmosphere and presentation over difficulty, you might actually love this right now. For everyone else, wait and see. Going into Outbound, I was hoping for something like Raft, that survival, pressure feeling of gathering, building, and barely keeping yourself alive, only set inside your camper van instead. The further I got into the demo, the clearer it became that that's not really what this is, and that adjustment took a little time. What Outbound actually is, a genuinely cozy, low-stakes exploration game where your home travels with you. You drive through beautiful biomes, upgrade your van, cook meals, grow crops, and the world unfolds at a pace you control. Solo or with friends, it's relaxed in a way that's clearly intentional. Once I stopped waiting for the survival tension to show up and just let it be what it was, I enjoyed it. The van as a home concept is charming, the environments are easy on the eyes, and it has that kind of laid-back energy that's hard to manufacture when you're actually trying. It just came from a different direction than I expected. If cozy exploration is your thing, and especially if you want something like that to play with friends, Outbound is worth a look. Personally, I still think I would have enjoyed it a bit more if it leaned harder into the survival side, but that's on my expectations, not the game. Go in knowing what it is, and you'll have a good time. Overall, my favorites are Modulus, Windrose, and Snacktorio. Let me know what ones you guys liked in the comments. See you next time.